we are back with Matthew 8, verse 28 to 34. Now, Jesus has accomplished his mission by getting across the lake, and now he's here for what he has been trying to do this whole chapter. He's trying to get to this side to meet two demon-possessed men and to set them free. Now, in this chapter, you'll see a little bit of a seeming discrepancy, or at least an inconsistency between this passage and the other gospels. But here's the difference. So in Matthew, he talks about two demon-possessed men that come from the tombs and meets him, and this is in the region of the Gadarenes. Now, in the other gospels, it speaks of only one demon-possessed man, and one of them names him. Now, Luke and Mark, I believe it is, yes, they go into a lot more details. But here's the difference, is that Matthew is talking about two that are here, but Mark and Luke are talking about the spokesperson. So that it is not contradicting each other. There may very well have been two, but, and of course there is two because of what Matthew says, but Mark and Luke harp more on the one person that's speaking. So this is this story we get into. Now, what Jesus has done, he's gone from what is Jewish land, and he's gone across the lake to the other side, specifically into Gentile land. Now, this is a power move against the enemy. Now, we already learned in chapter 4 when Jesus was tempted in the desert by Satan, where Satan is trying to offer him all the lands, and he said, basically, I know you've come here to get all this authority back. You're wanting this. That's my territory for yourself. Because at this time, Jesus only has the Jews. But now Jesus is doing this power move. He is now going not just to the Jews, but into the Gentile territory and starting to take claim over that too. So that's why you can see the reaction at the end, even more powerful, of going, we don't want you in this region. So we also know this is Gentile land by another clue in the story, is that there are pigs being raised here. You would not find that in Jewish property because pigs are unclean. So they're not going to be there. So this is very much Gentile land. And these Gentiles, specifically these two, are unclean. They are filled with demons. They are spiritually dead and are marked with death because they are around the tombs. Yet Jesus still went to this place to set them free. And it's just incredible that he didn't just go to the Gentile land to go and heal. No, he went to one of the darkest places he could to make a point that he is coming to take authority, and he is capturing the darkness that was in this principality or whatever was in these men that were in this tomb area in the region, and he's coming to take them out. So he is setting them free. And the book of Jubilees actually makes a reference, and we've talked about the primary resources of the Bible. The book of Jubilees is another one of those. And it says that the Gentiles eat in tombs. So again, this is just layer upon layer of the fact that this place is filled with death and uncleanness, and this was enemy territory that Jesus is coming specifically to say, I'm coming after you. So this is where we leave off with Jesus. He drives them out, and he sends these demons into a herd of pigs. Now, before that, the demons, they were so violent, and they say to Jesus, they recognize, of course, that this is the Son of God. I mean, obviously they know. And he says, what do you want with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time? Now, they know that they have an end. They know that they are doomed. They know that they will not win. Yet, they still try, don't they? And so some distance from them is a large herd of pigs that were feeding, as we talked about. And the demons begged Jesus, if you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs. Why? Well, in Matthew 12:43-45, it talks about when an evil spirit goes out of man, it goes to dry and arid places looking for a place to inhabit. Now, there's a lot more depth that I could go into, but I'm going to kind of keep it real simple. They hate water. The demonic spirits, they hate water. And part of it goes back to the flood. Or a good bit of it actually goes back to the flood. But they despise water, and they don't want to be in wet water areas, the opposite, dry, arid places. So they are looking for something else that they can go inhabit, and there's these pigs. Well, the pigs, of course, are unclean. That's a safe place. You don't have to worry about being in a clean place. They're already unclean. We'll go into them. Send us them. But what happens? And I love this because it's just irony here. They hate water. They don't want anywhere near water. And so Jesus is like, sure, you want to go in the pigs? Go. Of course, he does it with all the great authority. But he also knows what's going to happen. And so they come out. They went out of the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and died in the water. So this is where they are trapped, and they're doomed forever. They can't even get out and go into other beings. So it's a twist of irony that I know that Jesus was probably had a little smirk on his face going, yeah, you want to go in there? You can go in there. I'll let you go in there. Find out what happens. So after that, of course, the pigs run, those tending the pigs run off. They've lost their entire herd. And the town goes to report this. And then they all come out to meet Jesus and say, we need you to go. You need to get out of this region. And you know that there's a stronghold here. And Jesus dealt with a big part of that stronghold and just sent them into the water, into the pits. And now they're trying to get rid of Jesus because this is what they've been comfortable with. This is all they've known. They're pagan. This is who they've served, these gods. And now there is a breakdown here that's taking place, and the balance is being changed. So they are terrified of having Jesus, and Jesus has no problem with leaving because he's like, yep, what are you going to do about that, Satan? And he turns around and goes back to the Jewish land. So talk about a power move. This was quite the power move that Jesus played here in their own land, in the Satan's land, in the Gentile Gadarenes area. So we finish off here, and then next week we start in chapter 9.